The Arctic wind howled across the desolate expanse of Svalbard, rattling the windows of the remote observatory like skeletal fingers against glass. Inside the station, amber lamplight fought against the endless polar night of 1941. 5 scientists huddled around their instruments, separated from civilization by 800 miles of frozen wasteland. For 3 days, the blizzard had raged, turning their research station into a prison of ice and shadow. None of them knew that by morning their number would be 4. Dr. Sven Lindqvist adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses and frowned at the temperature readings. His perfectionism had made him lead researcher, but it had also made him enemies. Erik Holmberg glared from the equipment bay, knowing Sven had blocked his promotion again. Dr. Astrid Nordström's jaw tightened as Sven criticized her weather calculations. Magnus Eriksen clutched a letter from home, his father dying while Sven refused to let anyone leave. Only Dr. Ingrid Carlson remained composed, though she had discovered disturbing irregularities in the station's funding. In the kitchen, Olaf Larsen stirred their dwindling soup and watched them all with the keen eyes of a former policeman. Dawn came grey and bitter. Olaf discovered the heating system had failed during the night, and worse, Dr. Lindqvist was missing. They found him 20 feet from the station door, frozen solid in the snow, his face twisted in a mask of terror and cold. But the mystery chilled them more than the Arctic air. The station door was locked from the inside, the key still hanging on its hook. How had Sven gotten outside, and why, when the heating began to fail, had he not simply returned inside? As they carried his frozen body into the station, each of them wondered the same thing. Which of their companions was a killer? Olaf Larsen took charge, his police training awakening after years of stirring soup and tending the stove. The door had indeed been locked from inside, but someone had tampered with the heating system. Several crucial connections had been deliberately severed. This was no accident. As the storm continued to rage outside, trapping them with a murderer, Olaf gathered everyone in the main room. The killer was among them, and with supplies running low and no rescue possible for days, panic began to creep in like the cold through the station's walls. One by one, Olaf questioned them, and one by one, their secrets spilled like blood on snow. Magnus admitted he'd begged Sven to let him return to his dying father, but had been refused. Astrid revealed that Sven had threatened her career, calling her research emotional nonsense. Erik's hands shook as he confessed Sven had stolen credit for his equipment innovations, but it was Ingrid who dropped the heaviest revelation. She had discovered that Sven had been embezzling research funds, leaving them dangerously short on supplies. Each had motive, each had opportunity. But which one had the coldness to lock a man outside to freeze? Searching Sven's quarters, they found his journal, and the truth about his cruelty became clear. But more disturbing was what Olaf discovered in the equipment bay. Freshly used wire cutters, still warm to the touch, and oil stains on the floor beneath the heating system. Someone with engineering knowledge had sabotaged their lifeline. All eyes turned to Erik, whose domain this was, whose tools these were. But Erik protested his innocence with tears in his eyes, claiming someone else had used his equipment. The accusations flew like the wind outside, sharp and cutting. In Magnus's belongings, they found something that stopped their hearts. Sven's spare key to the station, hidden beneath his father's letters. Magnus stammered that he had no idea how it got there, but the evidence seemed damning. Had the desperate young man locked Sven outside, then planted the key inside to create the impossible locked room? The group turned on Magnus with the fury of the trapped and desperate, but Olaf held up a weathered hand. Something didn't feel right. In his years as a policeman, he had learned that the obvious answer was often the wrong one. The storm reached its peak as tempers exploded inside the station. Magnus pleaded his innocence, while Erik demanded they restrain him. Astrid shouted that Magnus had motive and opportunity. The young radio operator backed against the wall, terror in his eyes as his colleagues advanced. But Ingrid stepped forward, her voice cutting through the chaos like a blade through ice. She had been watching, analyzing, and she had seen something the others had missed. The killer had made one crucial mistake, and it wasn't Magnus.